So remember that they're changing my voice. So while we're putting things into perspective, let's take the case of the character, Juliet, a character from a story. And I've never in my life heard of a female who did something in recent history that is as respectable as what Juliet did. The closest thing is my mother and my grandmother. Okay. Somebody who was willing to die for what is in the story. Remember, the story is superimposed on something else, right? Okay, it's like a cartoon story. It's like a childish, rich European brat version of two people who are in love, right? They're just white people in white culture who are spoiled brats who couldn't get what they want. But what it's superimposed on, if you take it at face value, if you believe that magically they found the divine order and they actually are in love with each other, which is basically how I interpreted it when I was younger, then it's quite the story, isn't it? So, basically Juliet thinks that Romeo is dead, if I remember correctly, and he had faked his death, so she kills herself. Okay. Or was it the other way around? One of them, fakes their death, and the other one kills himself. The other one wakes up, realizes that person, is dead. And then they kill themselves. Now, what had happened there? She looked at the evil world and said, hey, she doesn't love the world, anything in the world. 1 John 2:15. Okay. She looked at the other guys and said, hey, you guys just don't cut it. Similar to how I felt when I was younger in high school, but, they were covertly drugging me. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could have actually had a loving relationship with the female that I felt that I was really in love with. And looking back at the different females, I know that I'm a passionate guy, and that had one of the females that I really felt attached to, went there with me, we went all the way. And they planted in my life one time, this Filipina chick from the club. She was very gorgeous, very attractive. And I was, a bit intoxicated. I was used to getting rejected at the club. And some series of events had occurred. And she basically came back to me and saw me, misbehaving. And again, she's almost certainly a gang stalker. Her friends were like all arrogant, and she was like a nice chick. And she had said to me, they're not usually like that. They're actually cool. And I don't quite believe her when I look at their exact behavior, but I don't know. We'll say. And she said that I'm probably not going to believe her, but she's not like that. She wouldn't have broke my heart. She would have stayed with me through thick and thin. Like unless I'm, somehow getting this memory incorrect, that's what had occurred. They did things like that. Was very petty and cruel. The word set is a play on words for tease. They say, here's this beautiful kind of church-like female, and she would have went there with you, and da-da-da-da-da. And keep in mind, I'm not moving the slightest. Do I think that occurred on the up and up, and that's all there is to it? No. So what I would say to her, and I don't think this will ever get back to her, is no, I don't believe you. You're right. I do not believe you. I do not believe any attractive female on this planet. You don't have heart like the early Christians in popular culture. Okay, one of them is said to be this one woman who, when a Roman soldier in the Colosseum saw that she was very beautiful, he was afraid to kill her. And so she grabbed his sword and killed herself. She doesn't have heart like that. I do. But my heart and my mission go beyond that. Little kids who were fed to the lions. Different factions of Christianity, and if you take it at face value that they were actually trying hard to connect to God, who died for what they believed, who were persecuted by the Inquisition, and vice versa. If you take those things at face value, like people who from those factions often claim to do, right? Okay. So she was willing to die rather than be without love. And the point of reference of love that was given to her by God is part of Romeo and Juliet, which is considered the greatest love story ever told. Now, Socrates had said something to the effect of a life without self-examination, life where you can't ask questions, life where you can't have freedom is not worth living, as the story goes. And when he was arrested for corrupting the youth, right, for preaching away, teaching a way that was contrary to the Greek culture at the time, they gave him the option to leave, and he chose to die and be executed instead. And he said that a life without self-examination is not worth living. A life without the possibility for true love is not worth living. A life without God and conveying love from God is not worth living. That's not LGBT stuff. It's not white supremacy. It's not anything any of you people have. Learn from Romeo and Juliet. If you're dating, your marriage can't even compare to Romeo and Juliet in the story, how much more what it's superimposed on? So when I see, females, they pretend to be religious, what have you, but you won't rally to Jesus, to love among you. The word became flesh, love became flesh, justice, righteousness, what have you. That you won't rally and obey God through me. That you're afraid of being persecuted. This female in the story, okay, like a samurai's wife in popular culture, killed herself because of principle and attachment to principle, whether she was full of emotion or not. She was thinking more straight than any of you females are. She said, what the hell is this, world where it rains water that's mixed with, Lord knows what, and, birds fly over and, do Lord knows what, and it falls on the earth. Okay. This floating ball of excrement. And you're attached and you're clinging to it. And some rape by deception worm was afraid to rally to me. You're like, hey, he's my boyfriend. That's fucking retarded. You see how a lot of times you need to hit him with straight talk. So I was just talking about love and all this, and your mind might have been in la la land because you people don't know what love is. You don't. So I had to bring you back to reality. In reality, you don't know what love is. In reality, your daughters, your wives, your mothers are not Juliet. They don't value love. They date based on social norms, based on money, based on religious values. If they seem sincere and they're some kind of traditionalist from Saudi Arabia or whatever, it's in the boundaries of tradition. This is one of my favorite topics in many ways because it's fascinating how people don't understand this. It's in many movies too. You think that your traditions transcend true love. You have no viable counterargument, for love transcends all. For moral precision, which is what is needed for true love, transcending everything. It is another way of saying love. True love is moral precision, and the romantic love is like a form of that, an application of that. God is justice. He's a God of justice. He's God and one God. There's one God and a God of justice. And love comes from that. Love, justice, righteousness, they're the same thing. When the righteous man conveys righteousness to a woman he's in love with, that's love. When he tries to help people out with righteousness, that's love. If you aren't willing to die for love, even by stabbing yourself if necessary, then you are just a fucking slut. And it's so clear to even the people, even the worms who wrote the wordplay, that the word slut is the word lust scrambled. Okay, so you're just lusting mixed with psychology and emotion when you think you're in love. You have some kind of, your brain is triggered in a way that lacks the moral principles to allow for a divine state of love, and you just feel something similar on the spectrum of lust, and sometimes it plays out flat out as lust. It's lust expressed in bread and room activity, what have you. And some kind of worms. They'll talk bad about other races and call them names and compare them to things. Some big idiot will have, some big, big penis. Okay, and he'll think that he'll fuck some bar wench. He'll think that that's what sex is really about, what life is about. Some guy with a six-pack or something will think he's important. Hey, guys, well, he doesn't have one of these. And people have all kinds of stupid conceptions. Very petty. They'll read books about it, relationship coaches, they'll buy sex toys, they do all kinds of stupid fucking shit. Because they're not mature enough to understand what love is and what making love is. So my message to all of you, if you're not the idea that Juliet is superimposed on, you don't have to be the queen of queens, but you have to be in the divine order. And you want to have sex, especially in a sex cult, or letting the government tell you what to do, or letting some guy who won't obey God through me lead you. And what do you think you are? You think you're a wife of noble character, like it says in Proverbs at the last chapter, 31. and who's more precious than rubies. Who can find? A wife who scrambles to do God's work, who's prudent, and who stays up at night as needed, who suffers and struggles and strives to do God's work. Is that you? Or are you just some kind of bootlicking coward? Then when you have a kid, you're like, hey, he's so cute, like a puppy dog or something. That's why in Greece, some of their loves are talked about. The love for animals is compared to the love for people. Even the word animus, it's like the word animal, it's their word for the spirit. And some kind of animal, kind of namby-pamby, sissy, fraidy cat, deer in headlights, BS, form of quote-unquote love. That's why the word love is a play on words for live, which spelled backwards is evil. How did you live? Did you live a righteous and moral life in reality, morality, more reality, normal and moral? Or are you immoral because you follow the standard of the state? What do you think the broad path was? It's just limited to criminals and especially serial killers? It's first and foremost people who conform to their traditional cultures, liberal, conservative, what have you, libertarian. It's bullshit. You get married in a church, some conformist for the state. Hi guys, I have a church, I'm allowed by the state. Hey, you want to get married to some shallow ass bitch shit? I'll even tell you, hey, make sure you can afford it. Make sure your blood money's right, because you're right with the devil. You gave the devil his due, huh? Yodeling. Right, fucking retarded. Can you imagine what it's like being a real man who really is loyal to God, who conveys true love, looking at these worms and these sluts who shun me? So they can have some kind of patty cake, bitch-made fucking punk-ass, namby-pamby, fraidy, pussy-pansy, bitch-made fucking wicked, calloused heart, having just unbelievably pitiful, careless, senseless, shameless, dog excuse for love with some punk-ass bitch. You know how fucking despicable that is. Am I supposed to say, I'm happy for? No. Better is open rebuke than love that is concealed. When you see them dabbling in their pagan rubbish, their propaganda, theater art, psychology, pitch shit, you're supposed to say, hey, that's not love. Just in. Earth to this person. No, heaven to John Doe, Martha and John. Jesus to Martha and John. You do not have love. And you're not building a family on love. And at this point, no one should have kids, because if they do, they show they don't love God enough to take a look around at the world and to think about what the deeper implications are and what the repercussions and ramifications are for having children. It's even called ramifications, having kids. The children of goat. The goat is Greece, who's at odds with Zion in Isaiah in the Bible. Say, your children, Greece, your Greek society, neo-Roman bullshit, your Greco-Roman nonsense is at odds with the children of God. I'm not talking about flesh-based Jews. Okay? Now, I don't want to say anything that violates the rules on YouTube, but let's just say it's fucking obvious that I'm not talking about that. They are not chosen by God. The righteous are the children of God. Whether you read the Bible or don't read the Bible, the kingdom of heaven is taken away from you. Taken. In your own story, at some point you argue you're chosen. I don't believe it, but it was taken either way. So what the fuck does it matter? So the taken people, the people who gave up their chance to be chosen as a group so they could say, look at me, I'm playing the white man's game. In the neo-Roman spirit of globalism and things of that nature. So what the hell do you think love is? Playing stupid about the things that matter most, being in a secret society, being an intelligence agent, military, police, frat person, corporate puppet, some jock, some dumb high school chick saying, I'm not allowed to talk to you. Bitch, what the fuck you mean you're in high school? You break those fucking rules for love. I can't, I'm a dumb bitch. I'm fucking retarded. Imagine being a serious, passionate man. By the age of 16, 17, seeing these sniveling white supremacists obeying whores. I'm a dumb bitch. Token minority obeying sluts. I just like a bitch instead of you. They're fucking pathetic. You think I'm jealous of these worms? Or are they gang stalking me because they're jealous of Christ? Okay, so even at this point, they changed my voice to try to make it so it sounds corny. Ask yourself, do you believe the government and bikers and corporations and thugs and people in the churches, mosques, and synagogues who to this day have a very bad reputation for obeying the government, sexual immorality, for politics, for theater arts, psychology, and propaganda instead of truth? Do you believe the wealthy English and European elite? Do you believe the Israelis? Do you believe the Jewish diaspora? Do you believe the global LGBT community? Or are these highly political groups that come together to lie to you? Or do you believe the top martial artist ever possible, the son of 2 doctors, one a humanitarian, who's been targeted, who's made over 15,000 videos, telling the truth, correcting all the mistakes that I made, with over 23 witnesses or so, to them fuming me and poisoning me and persecuting me, with my legal and peaceful top martial arts challenge, okay, offering $10 million if I'm compensated, they can beat me. $60,000 if I'm not. $50 they get paid just to show up. Whether they win or lose, pay nothing if they lose. Who do you believe? He who is the child of universal pinpoint and moral precision, or they who are the child of nationalism or globalism or something else that's worldly like that? Hypocritical churches, mosques, synagogues, and other religious and philosophical movements. Those who try to make it so I sound like a propagandist. You think that someone can't prevent themselves from sounding like some politician or some person at church? Why would I lie about that? I would not. Who do you believe? Who do you find reliable?